Kate Morrison wiped the dust from her scanner and looked across the red rocks of Kepler 442b. The morning sun made the canyon walls glow like fire. She had been working on this planet for 2 years now, and she still loved the way it looked at sunrise. "Find anything interesting today?" Dr. Alan Webb asked as he walked up behind her. The older man carried 2 cups of coffee, steam rising in the cool morning air. Kate took 1 cup and smiled. "The mineral readings are strange in Sector 7. There might be something valuable down there." Dr. Webb nodded. He was 53 years old and had been her mentor since she arrived on the colony. He taught her everything about rocks and minerals. More importantly, he became like a father to her after her real father died in a mining accident on Earth. The colony was home to 200 humans. They grew food, mined useful minerals, and traded with alien species. Life was peaceful here. Kate liked the quiet work and the simple life. She was not like other 19-year-old girls who wanted excitement and adventure. "The Zephyrians are coming today," Dr. Webb said. "They want to buy more copper from us." Kate nodded. The Zephyrians were bird-like aliens who stood about 5 feet tall. They had thin bones and moved carefully. They were friendly traders who visited every few months. Kate found them polite but strange. They always seemed surprised by how strong humans were. The colony had a good relationship with the Zephyrians. They traded metal for food and technology. Sometimes they shared stories about other worlds and other species. Kate enjoyed listening to their tales about the galaxy. As they walked back to the main building, Kate saw children playing in the courtyard. The colony was like a small town. Everyone knew everyone else. They worked together and helped each other. It was the kind of place where people left their doors unlocked. Kate's father had been a soldier before he became a miner. He taught her many things before he died. He showed her how to fight, how to hide, and how to survive. He said these skills might save her life someday. Kate never thought she would need them on this peaceful world. The main building held the offices, the laboratory, and the communication center. Kate worked in the laboratory most days, studying rock samples and making reports. She was good at her job and enjoyed solving puzzles about the planet's geology. Around noon, the alarm sounded. It was not the gentle tone that meant the Zephyrian. Traders had arrived. This was the loud, harsh sound that meant danger. Kate had never heard it before except during practice drills. Dr. Webb looked worried. "That's not right. The Zephyrians are not supposed to arrive until tomorrow." Kate looked out the window and saw a large ship landing near the colony. It was bigger than the usual trading ships. It was dark gray and had weapons on its sides. This was a military ship. "Get the children inside," Dr. Webb said to the other colonists. "Something is wrong." 12 Zephyrian soldiers came out of the ship. They wore black armor and carried energy weapons. Behind them walked a taller Zephyrian with gold markings on his armor. This had to be their commander. The soldiers spread out and surrounded the main building. The commander walked to the front door and entered without knocking. His soldiers followed him inside. Kate and Dr. Webb were in the laboratory when the soldiers found them. The commander looked at them with his large, dark eyes. He spoke in perfect English. "I am Commander Veltar of the Zephyrian Empire. You humans have broken our agreement. You have been mining in sacred ground." Dr. Webb stepped forward. "That's not true. We have maps of all the areas we are allowed to mine. We have followed the rules exactly." The commander made a sound like a bird's cry. It might have been laughter. "The rules have changed. All mining must stop. All humans must come with us for questioning." Kate felt her heart beat faster. This was not about mining rights. Something else was happening here. Her father's training whispered in her mind. When someone with weapons says they want to ask you questions, they usually want to hurt you. "The children," Dr. Webb said. "They have done nothing wrong. Let them stay here." "All humans," the commander repeated. "We have heard stories about your species. We want to learn more about Deathworlders." Kate knew what that meant. Humans came from Earth, a world that other species considered very dangerous. Most aliens came from worlds with gentle weather and no large predators. Earth had storms, earthquakes, wild animals, and diseases that would kill most aliens quickly. Other species called humans Deathworlders because they survived on such a harsh planet. Most aliens thought this made humans either very lucky or very tough. Kate was about to show them which one was true. The soldiers began herding the colonists together. Kate saw fear in their eyes. These were peaceful people. They were scientists, farmers, and engineers. They were not soldiers. But Kate was different. Her father's blood ran in her veins. He had fought in 3 wars before he came to the mining colonies. He taught her that sometimes good people had to do terrible things to protect the innocent. Kate moved closer to a group of younger colonists. There were 6 teenagers and 2 children under 10 years old. They looked scared and confused. Kate put herself between them and the soldiers. "Move away, human female," one soldier said. His voice was high and sharp like a bird's call. "No," Kate said quietly. The soldier raised his weapon. It was a plasma rifle that could burn through metal. Kate had seen them before. They were designed to kill Zephyrians instantly. She wondered if they would work the same way on humans. "Kate, please," Dr. Webb said. "Don't make trouble. We will go with them and sort this out." Kate looked at the old man who had been like a father to her. She saw the worry in his eyes. He was afraid for her, not for himself. "I'm sorry," she whispered. 6 soldiers pointed their weapons at her. The commander watched with interest. He had heard stories about human stubbornness, but he had never seen it before. "Last warning," the commander said. "Move away from the young ones." Kate spread her arms wide, making herself a bigger target. The young colonists were directly behind her now. If the soldiers wanted to get them, they would have to go through her first. "Shoot her," the commander ordered. The soldiers fired their weapons together. 6 beams of superheated plasma struck Kate in the chest and shoulders. The energy burned through her clothes and seared her skin. Pain exploded through her body like nothing she had ever felt. Kate fell to the floor. Her body shook from the shock. Blood ran from the burns on her chest. The smell of burned flesh filled the air. The young colonist screamed. Dr. Webb cried out and tried to reach her, but the soldiers held him back. Kate lay still on the laboratory floor. Her eyes were closed. She was not moving. The soldiers believed she was dead. "Take the others to the ship," the commander ordered. "Leave the body. We will study it later." The soldiers herded the colonists out of the building. Dr. Webb looked back at Kate's still form. Tears ran down his face. "I'm sorry, Kate," he whispered. "I'm so sorry." The commander was the last to leave. He looked down at Kate's body with satisfaction. He had heard the stories about human toughness, but they were clearly exaggerated. One human girl had died just like any other creature. He was about to learn how wrong he was. Kate's eyes opened the moment the door closed behind him. She was alive, badly hurt, but alive. The plasma weapons had burned her, but they had not killed her. Human bodies were tougher than the aliens knew. Now, they had her family, now they would pay. Kate lay on the cold laboratory floor and listened to the sounds of the soldiers taking her people away. Her chest burned with pain from the plasma wounds. Each breath hurt, but she was breathing. She was alive. The Zephyrian weapons were powerful, but they were made for Zephyrian bodies. The aliens had hollow bones like birds. Their skin was thin and delicate. What would kill them instantly only wounded a human. Kate's father had told her stories about the differences between humans and other species. Most aliens came from gentle worlds with soft weather and no dangerous animals. Earth was different. Earth was a world of storms and earthquakes and predators with sharp teeth. Humans grew strong bones and thick skin to survive on Earth. Their hearts pumped blood through dense muscle. Their brains learned to ignore pain and keep fighting. These things made humans dangerous to aliens who had never faced real threats. Kate felt the medical nanites in her bloodstream working on her injuries. Every colonist had them. The tiny machines helped heal cuts and burns and broken bones. They were already closing her wounds and rebuilding damaged tissue. She heard the soldiers talking outside. They spoke in their own language, but Kate understood some of it. She had learned Zephyrian words from the traders who visited the colony. "The human female is dead," one soldier said. "Good," another replied. "I was worried she would be hard to kill. The stories about Deathworlders are lies," a third soldier added. "They die just like everyone else." Kate almost smiled, despite the pain. Let them think she was dead. It would make what came next much easier. She listened to the sounds of the soldiers loading the colonists onto their ship. She heard Dr. Webb's voice asking about her body. She heard children crying. She heard the fear in their voices, and anger began to grow in her chest. These aliens had come to her home. They had threatened her family. They had shot her and left her to die on the floor like an animal. Now they were taking the people she loved away to hurt them. Kate's father had taught her that sometimes good people had to do terrible things. He had fought in wars to protect innocent people. He had killed enemies to save his friends. He always said that the worst thing a person could do was stand by and let evil happen. The Zephyrians were about to learn what happened when you threatened a human's family. Kate waited until the sounds outside grew quiet. Most of the soldiers had gone to the ship with the prisoners. Only a few remained to guard the colony buildings. The commander was probably on his ship getting ready to leave. She slowly pushed herself up from the floor. Her body ached, but she could move. The nanites had done good work. The burns were already scabbing over. In a few hours, they would be just scars. Kate looked around the laboratory. She knew every tool and piece of equipment. She had worked here for 2 years. She knew which things could be used as weapons. She picked up a heavy rock hammer from the workbench. It was made for breaking stone samples, but it would work just as well on alien skulls. She tested its weight in her hand. It felt good. Kate moved to the door and listened. She could hear one soldier walking around outside. His footsteps were light and quick. Zephyrians moved like dancers, always careful not to break their fragile bones. She opened the door slowly and looked out. The soldier was standing near the main entrance, looking toward the ship. He was not paying attention to the laboratory. He thought all the dangerous humans were already captured. Kate slipped out of the building and moved through the shadows. Her father had taught her how to move quietly, how to use darkness as a friend. She had practiced these skills as a child, playing games in the forests near their home. The soldier did not hear her coming. He did not see her until she was right behind him. By then it was too late. Kate brought the rock hammer down on the back of his head. The alien's skull cracked like an eggshell. He fell to the ground without making a sound. Kate looked down at the dead soldier. She felt nothing. No guilt, no sadness, no regret. He had threatened her family. He had shot her. He deserved to die. She picked up his plasma rifle and checked its power level. It was nearly full. Good. She would need all the firepower she could. Yet Kate heard footsteps coming from the other side of the building. 2 more soldiers were walking toward her position. They were talking in their own language, complaining about the boring guard duty. She hid behind a storage container and waited. When the soldiers came around the corner, she was ready. The first soldier saw his dead friend and started to raise his weapon. Kate shot him in the chest with his own plasma rifle. The beam burned through his armor and dropped him instantly. The second soldier was faster. He got his weapon up and fired at Kate. She threw herself to the side and rolled behind another container. The plasma beam missed her by inches. Kate came up shooting. Her first shot hit the soldier in the shoulder and spun him around. Her second shot hit him in the back and put him down for good. 2 soldiers down, 10 more to go, plus the commander. Kate moved toward the ship, staying in the shadows. She could see more soldiers standing guard near the boarding ramp. They looked relaxed and confident. They had no idea that death was coming for them. She found a good position behind a pile of mining equipment. From here she could see the ship and the guards. She could also see the windows of the ship where the colonists were probably being held. Kate counted the soldiers outside. There were 4 of them. She could take them, but she needed to be smart about it. If she made too much noise, the soldiers inside the ship would be ready for her. She looked at the plasma rifle in her hands. It was a good weapon, but it was designed for Zephyrian hands. It was too small for her and hard to aim properly. She needed something better. Kate remembered the mining charges in the storage shed. They were small explosives used to break up large rocks. They would work perfectly for what she had in mind. She crept toward the storage shed, keeping low and quiet. The soldiers were watching the colony buildings, not the storage areas. They were looking for threats from the wrong direction. Kate reached the shed and found the mining charges. Each one was about the size of a baseball and had a timer that could be set for up to 60 seconds. She took 6 of them and stuffed them into her pockets. Now she was ready to show the Zephyrians what happened when you messed with a Deathworlder. Kate moved back toward the ship. She could hear voices inside, probably the commander talking to his prisoners. She could hear Dr. Webb's voice asking for medical help for the children. She could hear fear and confusion and pain. The anger in her chest grew hotter. These aliens had made a terrible mistake. They had shot her and thought she was dead. They had taken her family and thought they were safe. They were about to learn that humans were called Deathworlders for a very good reason. Kate set the timer on the first mining charge and threw it toward the ship. She set the second one and threw it in a different direction. The soldiers would have to split up to investigate the explosions. The first charge went off with a loud bang. The soldiers jumped and pointed their weapons at the smoke. The second charge exploded on the other side of the ship and 2 soldiers ran toward it. Kate shot the remaining 2 soldiers while they were distracted. Her aim was getting better with the alien weapon. Both soldiers went down quickly. Now it was time to go inside the ship and get her family back. And when she found Commander Veltar, she was going to show him exactly what 23 seconds of human rage could do. Kate stood at the bottom of the ship's boarding ramp. 6 soldiers were dead outside. 6 more waited inside, plus the commander. The odds were still against her, but she had advantages they did not know about. She climbed the ramp slowly, listening for sounds from inside. The ship was built for Zephyrians, so everything was smaller than human size. The doorways were low and the hallways were narrow. Kate had to duck her head to avoid hitting the ceiling. The ship's lights were dim. Zephyrians had better night vision than most aliens, but it was still not as good as human eyes. Kate had grown up on Earth, where her ancestors hunted in dark forests and deep caves. She could see clearly in the low light. She heard voices coming from the cargo hold. The colonists were being held there, probably locked in like animals. Kate felt her anger grow stronger. These people were not soldiers or criminals. They were farmers and scientists and children who had done nothing wrong. Kate moved through the ship's corridors like a ghost. Her father had taught her how to walk without making noise. He said that the best fighters were the ones their enemies never saw coming. The first soldier she found was standing guard at a junction of 2 hallways. He was looking toward the cargo hold, watching for trouble from the prisoners. He was not expecting trouble to come from behind. Kate grabbed him around the neck with one arm and covered his mouth with her hand. The soldier tried to struggle, but human strength was much greater than Zephyrian strength. Kate squeezed until she felt the alien's hollow bones crack. He went limp in her arms. 7 soldiers down, 5 to go. Kate dragged the body into a side room and took his weapon. Now she had 2 plasma rifles. She checked the power levels on both. They were fully charged and ready to fire. She heard footsteps coming down the hallway. 2 soldiers were walking toward her position, talking in low voices. They sounded nervous. Maybe they had heard something outside, or maybe they were starting to wonder why their friends were not answering their radios. Kate pressed herself against the wall and waited. When the soldiers walked past her hiding spot, she stepped out behind them. "Looking for me?" she asked in perfect Zephyrian. The soldiers spun around, raising their weapons. Kate was faster. She shot both of them before they could fire. The plasma beams lit up the narrow hallway like lightning. 9 soldiers down, 3 to go, plus the commander. Kate heard shouting from the cargo hold. The remaining soldiers had heard the shooting. They knew something was wrong. The element of surprise was gone now, but Kate did not care. She was done hiding. She walked toward the cargo hold, her boots making loud sounds on the metal floor. She wanted them to hear her coming. She wanted them to be afraid. The cargo hold was a large room with metal walls and a high ceiling. The colonists were sitting on the floor, their hands tied behind their backs. Kate saw Dr. Webb near the back wall. He looked up when she entered, and his eyes went wide with shock. "Kate," he whispered, "you're alive." "Stay down," Kate told him. "This will be over soon." 3 soldiers were in the room, pointing their weapons at the colonists. They turned when Kate appeared in the doorway. One of them started to speak, but Kate shot him before he could finish his first word. The other 2 soldiers fired at Kate. She dove to the side and rolled behind a metal crate. The plasma beams hit the wall where she had been standing and left black marks on the metal. Kate came up shooting. Her first shot missed, but her second shot hit one soldier in the chest. He fell backward and did not get up. The last soldier was hiding behind another crate. Kate could see his weapon sticking out over the top. She waited for him to show himself, but he was too smart for that. Kate pulled one of the mining charges from her pocket. She set the timer for 5 seconds and threw it over the crate. The soldier saw it coming and tried to run, but the narrow space between the crates slowed him down. The explosion was loud in the closed room. The soldier was thrown against the wall and crumpled to the floor. Kate walked over and checked his pulse. He was dead, 11 soldiers down. Only the commander remained. Kate untied Dr. Webb's hands and gave him a knife to free the other colonists. "Get everyone out of here," she said. "Take them back to the colony and wait for me." "Kate, what are you going to do?" Dr. Webb asked. "I'm going to finish this," Kate said. "The commander is armed and dangerous," Dr. Webb warned. "He's not like the other soldiers, he's bigger and stronger." Kate looked at the old man who had been like a father to her. She saw worry in his eyes, but also pride. He knew what she was capable of now. "I'll be careful," she promised. Dr. Webb nodded. "Your father would be proud of you." Kate left the cargo hold and went looking for Commander Veltar. She found him in the ship's bridge, trying to send a message to his home fleet. When he saw her, he dropped the communication device and reached for his weapon. "Impossible," he said in English. "You are dead. I saw you die." "You saw me get hurt," Kate corrected. "There's a difference." The commander was larger than the other Zephyrians, but he was still smaller than Kate. His armor was thicker and his weapon was bigger, but he moved with the same careful motions as his soldiers. "You killed my men," he said. "You shot me." Kate replied. "You threatened my family. You came to my home with weapons and tried to take my people away. What did you think would happen?" The commander raised his weapon. It was a heavy plasma cannon, much more powerful than the rifles his soldiers carried. One shot from it would probably kill even a human. "I will not make the same mistake twice," he said. Kate smiled. It was not a nice smile. "Yes, you will." The commander fired his weapon. The plasma beam was as thick as Kate's arm and hot enough to melt steel. Kate threw herself to the side, but the beam caught her left shoulder and spun her around. Kate hit the floor hard. Her shoulder was on fire with pain. The smell of burned flesh filled the air again, but she was still alive and she still had her weapons. The commander walked toward her, his cannon charging for another shot. "Humans are not as tough as the stories say," he said. "You die just like everyone else." Kate waited until he was close enough. Then she rolled to her feet and fired both of her plasma rifles at the same time. The twin beams hit the commander in the chest and threw him backward against the wall, but his armor was thick and he was not dead. He raised his cannon again, blood running from his mouth. Kate dropped the empty rifles and pulled out her last mining charge. She set the timer for 3 seconds and threw it at the commander's feet. 23 seconds, she said. "That's how long you have left to live." The commander looked down at the charge and then back at Kate. For the first time, she saw fear in his alien eyes. "What are you?" he whispered. "I'm a human," Kate said. "I'm a Deathworlder, and you just made the worst mistake of your life." The charge exploded. Commander Veltar was thrown against the wall so hard that his armor cracked. He slid to the floor and lay still. Kate walked over to check if he was dead. He was not quite gone yet, but he would be soon. She knelt beside him and looked into his dying eyes. "This is what happens when you shoot the Deathworlder girl," she said. Commander Veltar lay against the wall, breathing hard. His armor was cracked and blood ran from cuts on his face. The explosion had hurt him badly, but he was still alive. He looked up at Kate with hatred in his dark eyes. "You cannot kill me," he said in a weak voice. "I am a commander of the Zephyrian Empire. If you kill me, my people will come for revenge. They will destroy your entire colony." Kate looked down at him without feeling sorry for him. "Your people already tried to destroy us. You came here with weapons. You shot me. You took my family prisoner. You started this fight." The commander tried to sit up straighter. "We only wanted to study you. Humans are dangerous. The galaxy needs to understand how dangerous you are." "Now you know," Kate said. She walked around the bridge, looking for something she could use. The commander's weapon was broken from the explosion. Her plasma rifles were empty, but she did not need fancy weapons to finish this. Kate found a metal bar that had been used to secure cargo. It was about 3 feet long and heavy enough to break bones. She picked it up and tested its weight. It would do the job. "Wait," the commander said. "We can make a deal. I will release your people and leave your planet. I will tell my government that humans are too dangerous to bother with. You will never see us again." Kate walked back to where he lay. "You already released my people. They are safe now, and I do not make deals with people who shoot little girls." The commander's eyes went wide. "Little girls? You are a warrior. You killed 11 of my best soldiers." "I am 19 years old," Kate said. "I work in a laboratory studying rocks. Until today, I had never hurt anyone in my life. You turned me into a killer because you threatened the people I love." She raised the metal bar above her head. The commander tried to crawl away, but his broken body would not obey him. "Please," he begged. "I have a family too. I have children waiting for me to come home." Kate stopped. She thought about his words. She thought about his children, waiting for a father who would never return. For a moment, she felt something that might have been mercy. Then she remembered Dr. Webb's face when the soldiers took him away. She remembered the fear in the children's eyes. She remembered the pain of the plasma burns on her chest. She remembered the feeling of lying on the laboratory floor, pretending to be dead while aliens laughed about killing her. "You should have thought about your children before you came here," Kate said. "You should have thought about them before you pointed weapons at mine." The commander made one last desperate attempt to defend himself. He pulled a small knife from his belt and tried to stab Kate in the leg. The blade barely scratched her thick work pants. Kate brought the metal bar down on his head. The commander's skull made a sound like a cracking egg. He went limp and did not move again. Kate stood over his body for a long moment. She felt empty inside, like something important had been burned out of her. She had killed 12 living beings in the space of an hour. She was not the same person who had been studying rocks that morning, but her people were safe. The children were safe. Dr. Webb was safe. That was what mattered. Kate left the bridge and walked through the ship. She found the commander's personal quarters and looked around. There were pictures on his desk showing him with other Zephyrians who must have been his family. He had a wife and 2 small children. She felt a small stab of guilt, but she pushed it away. He had made his choice when he came here with weapons. He had made his choice when he shot her. She had simply made sure he could not hurt anyone else. Kate found the ship's communication system and sent a message to the colony. "This is Kate Morrison. The threat is over. All hostiles are dead. The colonists are safe." Dr. Webb's voice came back immediately. "Kate, are you hurt? Do you need medical help?" "I'm fine," Kate said. "I'll be back in a few minutes." She walked through the ship one more time, making sure all the soldiers were really dead. She counted them again. 12 bodies, including the commander. All of them had died because they thought humans were weak. Kate found a toolkit in the ship's maintenance room. She took a bone saw that was used for cutting through metal. It would work for what she had in mind. She went back to the commander's body and knelt beside it. The saw was sharp and cut through his neck easily. She lifted his head by the crest that ran along the top of his skull. The head was smaller than a human head, but it was heavy. The bone was thick and hard. Kate looked into the dead eyes and felt nothing but satisfaction. She walked off the ship carrying the commander's head in one hand and her plasma rifle in the other. The colonists were waiting for her near the main building. When they saw her coming, they went quiet. Kate walked up to Dr. Webb. Her clothes were torn and burned. Her left shoulder was bandaged with cloth from her own shirt. Blood stained her hands and arms. But she was walking steady and strong. "It's over," she said. Dr. Webb looked at the head in her hand. "Kate, what have you done?" "What I had to do," she replied. "They shot me. They threatened our people. They would have come back with more soldiers if I had let this one live." One of the younger colonists, a boy named Danny who was only 16, stepped forward. "You killed them all?" "Yes," Kate said simply. "By yourself?" "Yes." Danny looked at her with something that might have been fear or might have been respect. "How?" Kate looked at all the faces around her. These people had known her for 2 years. They had seen her as a quiet girl who liked to study rocks and drink coffee with Dr. Webb. Now they were seeing something else. "They made a mistake," Kate said. "They thought humans were like other species. They thought we were weak and soft and easy to kill. They were wrong." She held up the commander's head so everyone could see it. "This is what happens when you threaten a human's family. This is what happens when you shoot the Deathworlder girl." Dr. Webb put his hand on her good shoulder. "Your father would be proud," he said again. Kate nodded. "He taught me that sometimes good people have to do terrible things. He taught me that the worst evil is standing by and letting bad things happen to innocent people." She looked around at all the colonists. "These aliens came here to hurt us. They came here to take us away and do experiments on us. They shot me and left me for dead. They would have killed all of you if I had not stopped them." The colonists nodded. They understood now. Kate had not killed for fun or revenge. She had killed to protect her family. Kate walked to the main building and went inside. She found a place of honor on the wall of the main room and hung the commander's head there. She took a marker and wrote words under it in both English and Zephyrian. The words said, "They shot the Deathworlder girl. This is what happened next." Then, Kate went to wash the blood off her hands. Tomorrow she would go back to studying rocks. But the galaxy would never forget what happened on Kepler 442b when someone made the mistake of threatening a human's family. 3 days passed after the attack. Kate sat in her laboratory looking at rock samples just like she had done before the soldiers came. But everything was different now. The burns on her chest and shoulder had healed into pale scars. The nanites had done their work well. The commander's skull hung on the wall in the main room. Every colonist walked past it several times each day. Some of them looked at it with pride. Others looked at it with fear. All of them remembered what Kate had done to protect them. Dr. Webb came into the laboratory carrying 2 cups of coffee. He set one down next to Kate and sat in his usual chair. They had done the same thing 1,000 times before, but now it felt different. "How are you feeling?" he asked. Kate looked up from her work. "I'm fine." "That's not what I meant." Kate put down her scanner and picked up her coffee. "I know what you meant. I killed 12 people, Alan. I cut off their commander's head with a bone saw. How do you think I feel?" Dr. Webb was quiet for a moment. "I think you feel like you did what you had to do." "I do," Kate said, "but that doesn't mean I feel good about it." The door to the laboratory opened and Danny, the 16-year-old boy, looked in. "Kate, there's a ship coming. It's not Zephyrian." Kate and Dr. Webb went outside to look. A large ship was landing near the colony. It was painted white with blue markings. Kate recognized the symbols of the Galactic Council, the group that tried to keep peace between different alien species. "Probably here to investigate what happened," Dr. Webb said. Kate nodded. "Let them come. I have nothing to hide." 3 aliens came out of the ship. One was tall and thin with gray skin. One was short and round with green fur. The third was something Kate had never seen before. It looked like a walking tree with many arms. The tall gray alien walked up to Kate and Dr. Webb. "I am Inspector Thane of the Galactic Council. We received a distress signal from a Zephyrian ship 3 days ago. The signal stopped suddenly. We are here to investigate." "The ship is over there," Kate said, pointing. "The crew is dead." Inspector Thane looked surprised. "Dead? What happened to them?" "They attacked our colony," Dr. Webb explained. "They shot one of our people and tried to take us prisoner. We defended ourselves." The inspector looked around at the peaceful colony. "You defended yourselves against 12 armed soldiers?" "I did," Kate said. The inspector stared at her. Kate was a young woman with blonde hair and blue eyes. She wore simple work clothes and had dirt under her fingernails from handling rock samples. She did not look like a killer. "You?" the inspector asked. "Me," Kate confirmed. The 3 aliens walked over to examine the Zephyrian ship. Kate and Dr. Webb followed them. The inspector counted the bodies and took pictures with a small device. His companions made notes on electronic tablets. 12 soldiers, all dead, the inspector said. "The commander is missing his head." "It's in our main building," Kate said. "Would you like to see it?" The inspector looked shocked. "You kept his head?" "As a warning," Kate replied. "So other people know what happens when you attack humans." They walked back to the main building. The inspector stared at the skull hanging on the wall. He read the words Kate had written underneath it. His gray skin turned even paler. "This is barbaric," he said. "So is shooting a 19-year-old girl and trying to kidnap innocent people," Kate replied. The inspector turned to look at her. "You are 19? You look so young." "I am young," Kate said, "but I grew up on Earth. We learned to fight early, because our world is dangerous." The short green alien spoke for the first time. "We have heard stories about Deathworlders. We thought they were just rumors." "They're not rumors," Dr. Webb said. "Humans come from a world that would kill most other species in days. We evolved to survive things that other races cannot imagine." The tree-like alien made sounds that might have been words. The inspector nodded and turned back to Kate. "We need to ask you some questions. Did the Zephyrians attack first?" "Yes," Kate said. "They came here with weapons. They claimed we were mining in sacred ground, but that was a lie. They wanted to capture humans for experiments." Dr. Webb stepped forward. "I can confirm that. The commander said they wanted to study Deathworlders." The inspector made notes on his tablet. "Were you in immediate danger when you killed them?" "They shot me," Kate said. "They were taking my people prisoner. If I had not stopped them, they would have hurt or killed everyone in this colony." "Show him your scars," Dr. Webb said. Kate pulled up her shirt to show the healed plasma burns on her chest. The inspector's eyes went wide when he saw them. "You survived direct hits from military plasma weapons?" "Barely," Kate said. "But yes." The inspector looked at his companions. They spoke in a language Kate did not understand. Finally, the inspector turned back to her. "The Galactic Council will need to file a report about this incident. What should we tell the Zephyrian government?" Kate thought about that for a moment. "Tell them that humans do not start fights, but we always finish them. Tell them that if they want to trade with us peacefully, they are welcome. But if they come here with weapons again, they will all end up like their commander." The inspector nodded slowly. "I will include your message in my report." The 3 aliens left that afternoon. Kate watched their ship disappear into the sky. She wondered what would happen next. Would the Zephyrians come back for revenge? Would other alien species decide that humans were too dangerous to deal with? 2 weeks later, she got her answer. A Zephyrian trading ship arrived at the colony, but this time the aliens came with gifts instead of weapons. They brought rare metals and advanced technology. They apologized for what their military had done. The captain of the trading ship was an old Zephyrian with wise eyes. He asked to speak with Kate privately. "My name is Captain Zektal," he said. "I knew Commander Veltar. He was my brother." Kate felt her hand move toward the knife on her belt. "Have you come for revenge?" The captain shook his head. "No, I have come to thank you." Kate stared at him. Thank me? My brother was a violent fool, the captain explained. He believed that might made right. He thought that because we had better weapons, we could do whatever we wanted to weaker species. You taught him that he was wrong. I killed him, Kate said. Yes, the captain agreed. And now every Zephyrian in the galaxy knows what happens when we attack peaceful people. My brother's death may have prevented a war. The captain reached into his bag and pulled out a small crystal. This is a memory stone. It contains recordings of everything that happened that day. The story is already spreading to every world in our empire. Kate took the crystal and looked at it. What story? The story of the Deathworlder girl who was shot and left for dead. The story of how she got up and hunted down her attackers one by one. The story of how she walked out of their ship carrying their commander's skull. The captain smiled, showing sharp alien teeth. They are calling it The Ballad of Kate Morrison. It is becoming very popular among young Zephyrians who want to learn about courage. Kate felt strange hearing this. She had not felt brave when she was killing the soldiers. She had felt angry and desperate and scared. But maybe that was what courage really was. Will there be more attacks? Kate asked. No, the captain said firmly. Word has spread throughout the galaxy. Every species now knows that humans are not to be underestimated. Your colony is probably the safest place in this sector now. Kate nodded. Good. The captain left the next day with a cargo hold full of valuable minerals. Trade with the colony became more profitable than ever before. Other alien species began to visit, curious about the humans who lived there. Kate went back to her work studying rocks. But now, when she walked through the colony, other people looked at her with respect. Children asked her to tell them stories about the battle. Adults asked her to teach them how to fight. She always said the same thing. I hope you never need to use what I could teach you, but if someone threatens your family, you do whatever it takes to protect them. The commander's skull still hung on the wall. Kate had carved new words into the bone in a dozen different alien languages. The message was the same in all of them. Don't shoot the Deathworlder girl. Every alien who visited the colony saw it. Every alien went home with the same story. The young human woman who looked like she could not hurt a fly. The woman who killed 12 armed soldiers with her bare hands and simple tools. The woman who proved that humans were called Deathworlders for very good reasons. Kate Morrison became famous throughout the galaxy, though she never left her quiet colony. She continued to study rocks and drink coffee with Dr. Webb. She continued to live her simple life. But now the entire galaxy knew her name. And they knew that when you threatened a human's family, you better be ready for the consequences. Because they had shot the Deathworlder girl, and 23 seconds later she had walked out holding their commander's skull.